Can technology bridge the gap between 57 million missing workers and the economic output Europe needs to maintain its standard of living? The mathematical reality facing the EU is stark. With productivity growth currently averaging just 1% annually across member states, replacing tens of millions of missing workers would require a technological revolution. The OECD's recent economic surveys highlight this critical need, emphasizing that substantial gains in productivity are essential for basic economic stability. This requires fundamentally reimagining how work gets done. Consider what would be required. If the EU's workforce shrinks by 21% while productivity remains constant, the economic output would decline proportionally. To maintain the same output with fewer workers, each remaining worker would need to produce 26% more, a productivity leap that would typically take decades at current improvement rates. Europe's situation resembles an aging engine trying to power a growing load. Rather than replacing the engine entirely, an impossible task given demographic realities, the solution may lie in adding technological turbochargers to multiply the power of what remains. These technological boosters fall into three categories: automation for repetitive physical tasks, artificial intelligence for information processing, and robotics for complex operations in challenging environments. In manufacturing, the transformation is already visible. At a German automotive plant in Bavaria, a team of 12 workers now oversees a robotic production line that previously required over 100 manual laborers. These robots operate continuously without breaks, maintain consistent quality standards, and handle dangerous tasks without extensive safety protocols. A single worker overseeing this automated production line produces 8 times more than workers using traditional methods just a decade ago. Similarly, in financial services, algorithmic trading and automated processing have dramatically increased output per worker. A mid-sized bank in the Netherlands reduced its back-office staff by 40%, while increasing transaction volume by 25% through AI-powered systems that handle routine inquiries across multiple languages and process information at scales impossible for human analysts. However, the potential for technological productivity improvements varies dramatically across sectors. Manufacturing, logistics, and data-intensive industries readily adapt to automation and AI implementation. Other sectors face more significant challenges. Healthcare and elder care, which will see increasing demand as Europe's population ages, rely heavily on human interaction, empathy, and physical presence. While diagnostic AI and monitoring technologies enhance productivity in these fields, they cannot fully replace the human element. A nurse or care worker can only tend to so many patients, regardless of technological assistance. Consider Anna, a home healthcare provider in Portugal. 5 years ago, she could visit 6 elderly patients daily. After her agency implemented a remote monitoring system with AI-powered alerts, she now effectively monitors 15 patients, while physically visiting only those requiring hands-on care. The technology doesn't replace what I do, Anna explains, but it helps me focus where I'm most needed and gives my patients security knowing someone's always watching over them. This sectoral variation creates a complex landscape for policymakers. As the Demography of Europe 2024 publication indicates, strategies must be tailored to the specific characteristics and needs of different economic sectors. Perhaps most concerning is the uneven distribution of productivity gains across EU member states. Countries with a strong focus on research and development and a highly skilled workforce are better positioned to adopt technological advancements. Northern and Western European nations, with their robust educational systems and technological infrastructure, have consistently outpaced Southern and Eastern European counterparts in productivity growth. This disparity means that the countries facing the most severe demographic challenges, like Latvia, Lithuania, and Greece, may be least equipped to leverage technological solutions. Without targeted intervention, this could exacerbate existing economic inequalities within the EU. Successfully leveraging technology to offset worker shortages requires a multifaceted approach. strategic investments in research and development are essential to develop technologies addressing Europe's specific needs. Comprehensive training programs must prepare workers for a technology-intensive economy, helping them specialize in areas machines cannot easily replicate: creativity, complex problem-solving, interpersonal skills, and adaptability. A supportive regulatory environment must balance rapid technological adoption with concerns about privacy, security, and equitable distribution of benefits. Some EU countries have already begun implementing effective strategies. Estonia's digital government initiatives have dramatically increased administrative efficiency, allowing the small Baltic nation to deliver services with fewer civil servants. Germany's Industry 4.0 program has helped its manufacturing sector maintain global competitiveness despite workforce constraints. Yet these success stories highlight both the potential and limitations of technological solutions. Even in these leading examples, technology has not fully offset demographic pressures, but rather mitigated them. The technology revolution can slow the impact of workforce decline, but cannot eliminate it entirely. The ethical implications also require careful consideration. Job displacement remains a significant concern, particularly for workers in routine occupations. If technological benefits flow primarily to capital owners rather than being broadly shared, they could worsen inequality even while increasing overall productivity. For the EU to successfully navigate its demographic transition, technological solutions must integrate with other policy approaches. Immigration can address specific skill shortages, while family-friendly policies might gradually improve fertility rates. Flexible retirement systems can keep older workers engaged in the economy, while educational reforms can maximize the productivity of a smaller workforce. The EU faces a race against time. Demographic trends unfold over decades, while technology evolves rapidly. The challenge is to accelerate technological adoption fast enough to offset workforce decline as it occurs, rather than reacting after economic impacts have already manifested. Adaptation strategies, a sustainable European future. As the demographic clock ticks, a crucial question emerges. Can Europe transform its workforce crisis into a sustainable future? The answer lies not in finding one perfect solution, but in understanding how seemingly unrelated policies, from retirement flexibility to family support, create a powerful synergy when implemented together. Like a well-tuned orchestra where each instrument plays its essential part, effective demographic strategies combine multiple policies in harmony. Countries successfully navigating population decline orchestrate comprehensive approaches where family support, retirement flexibility, and education policies complement each other. This coordinated symphony represents Europe's best path forward through a challenging but manageable transition. France demonstrates this harmonious approach with its family policy. Their system combines financial support scaled to family size, generous parental leave, and extensive childcare networks. For Marie, a Parisian software developer, this meant returning to work after having twins, knowing affordable quality childcare was available just blocks from her apartment. The results are measurable. France maintains fertility rates significantly higher than most EU neighbors while respecting individual reproductive choices. The success of family policies stems from addressing practical barriers to parenthood. When governments create environments where having children doesn't require extreme sacrifice, through accessible childcare, affordable housing, and family-friendly workplaces, fertility often stabilizes naturally. These policies address the actual reasons people delay childbearing: economic insecurity, career concerns, and logistical challenges. However, even effective family policies take decades to influence workforce size. This reality necessitates complementary approaches that maximize participation among existing adults, particularly older workers. Flexible retirement represents one of the most immediately impactful strategies available. Consider Henrik from Denmark, who at 67 continues working 3 days weekly at the engineering firm where he spent his career. He draws partial pension benefits while mentoring younger colleagues, maintaining his sense of purpose while enjoying more leisure time. This arrangement benefits both Henrik and the Danish economy by keeping valuable skills in the workforce longer. The traditional retirement model, working full-time until a fixed age, then stopping completely, increasingly conflicts with longer, healthier lives. Forward-thinking countries reimagine this transition as gradual. By enabling part-time work with partial pension benefits, governments keep valuable skills in the workforce while accommodating the changing needs of older adults. This flexibility benefits both individuals and economies, expanding the tax base and reducing dependency ratios without burdening aging citizens. The math is compelling. Extending average working lives by just 2 or 3 years significantly offsets demographic pressures on pension systems. Yet flexibility alone isn't sufficient. As populations age, education and training systems must evolve to maximize each worker's productivity. This means continuous skill development throughout longer working lives, especially in strategic sectors facing critical shortages. In Estonia, 54-year-old Lisa transitioned from manufacturing to healthcare support through a government-sponsored retraining program. This addressed her region's nursing shortage while providing Lisa stable employment as her factory downsized. Countries demonstrating resilience to demographic decline have developed such sophisticated systems for retraining adults through partnerships between government, industry, and educational institutions. What emerges from examining these policy domains is a critical insight. The most effective strategies create virtuous cycles. When family-friendly policies make parenthood manageable, workforce participation increases. When education systems develop skills aligned with economic priorities, productivity rises. When retirement becomes flexible, older workers contribute longer, easing pressure on pension systems. Morgan Stanley's research confirms this synergistic effect. Their analysis indicates that combining higher migration with increased female workforce participation could boost GDP by 4 percentage points, significantly offsetting demographic decline's negative effects. This combination proves more powerful than either approach alone. Successful adaptation also requires acknowledging regional differences within Europe. The challenges facing Latvia differ substantially from those in France or Germany. While broad principles apply universally, implementation must recognize each society's unique historical, cultural, and economic contexts. For Eastern European nations experiencing severe population decline, more aggressive interventions may be necessary, including revised immigration policies, substantial pension reforms, and significant investments in productivity-enhancing infrastructure. Countries with milder demographic profiles may follow more gradual transition paths. Addressing Europe's demographic transition ultimately requires reimagining intergenerational contracts. The post-war social model assumed indefinite population growth, with each generation larger than the last. Creating sustainable societies with inverted age pyramids means reconsidering how responsibilities and resources flow between generations. European Commission projections contain both warning and reassurance. While substantial demographic change lies ahead, these transformations will occur gradually enough to allow adaptation. Their assessment that pension spending will increase by only 0.4 percentage points of GDP by 2070 reflects confidence that existing reform mechanisms can manage the transition. What emerges is neither unwarranted optimism nor fatalism, but a clear-eyed assessment of a manageable challenge. Europe's demographic transition represents the continent's defining challenge for the next half-century. Success depends on implementing imperfect solutions early enough to make adjustments as circumstances evolve. The stakes are immense. Societies that adapt successfully will maintain prosperity despite smaller workforces. Those failing to implement coordinated strategies risk downward spirals, where declining populations lead to economic contraction, further accelerating demographic decline. For individual Europeans, these policy discussions translate into concrete life questions about family formation, career longevity, community services, and intergenerational responsibility. The answers depend largely on decisions made today by policymakers and citizens alike. The challenge is formidable but solvable. History shows societies can adapt to demographic transitions when they acknowledge reality and implement coherent response strategies. As we've seen throughout this journey, Europe faces a pivotal moment in its history. The decisions made today will determine whether this demographic transition becomes a manageable evolution or a catastrophic decline. Demographic change unfolds gradually, unlike sudden disasters, allowing time for adaptation if policymakers choose foresight over short-term politics. Will Europe embrace the innovation in economic and social systems needed to thrive? Reimagining European society requires more than policy tweaks. What future do you want to help build? The path forward demands informed citizens who understand these stakes and actively push their representatives towards sustainable solutions that serve generations to come.